Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yasodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Om Vishupad Paramam Sabriva Jagacharya Ashvatara Sata Sri Srimati Svangres Esi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Gacharya Ashtatara Sata Sri Srimati Svangres Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavana Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Seko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mayi Ki Jai Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Madam Mohan Ki Jai Sri Sri Gaunitai Ki Jai Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev Ki Jai Gora Premanandi All glories to the Samadivatis, all glories to the Samadivatis, all glories to the Samadivatis, all glories to Sri Guru Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prashadine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Pastyata Vedatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Skanda, 19th chapter, sloka number 36. Ebihi Indraupasamsritahi Akhandahi Haribihi Janam Riyamanam Vishaksha Enam Yaha Te Yagyadruk Asvamrut Ebirindropasamsrishtahi Pakandair Haribir Janam Riyamanam Vishakshvainam Yaste Yagyadruk Aswamut Ebirindropasamsrishtahi Pakandair Haribir Janam Riyamanam Vishakshvainam Yaste Yagyadruk Aswamut Ebirindropasamsrishtahi Pakandair Haribir Janam Priyamanam Vichakshvainam Yaste Yagyadrika Swamit. The Vaishnavis, Bihi, by these, Indra Upasamsrishtahi, created by the King of Heaven, Indra, Pakandahi, sinful activities, Haribihi, very attractive to the heart, Janam, the people in general, Riyamanam, being carried away, Vichakshva, just see, Enam, these, Yaha, one who, Te, your, Yagyadruk, creating a disturbance in the performance of the sacrifice. Asamut, who stole the horse. Translation. Just see how Indra, the king of heaven, was creating a disturbance in the midst of the sacrifice by stealing the sacrificial horse. These attractive, sinful activities he has introduced will be carried out by the people in general. Please repeat. Just see how Indra, the king of heaven, was creating a disturbance in the midst of the sacrifice by stealing the sacrificial horse. These attractive, sinful activities he has introduced will be carried out by the people in general. Purport by Divine Grace et Si Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Sri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baladev ki Jai. Purport by Divine Grace et Si Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, sloka number 21. Yadyada charati seshta statta devetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate. Whatever action is performed by a great man common man will follow in his footsteps, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. For his own sense gratification, King Indra thought to defeat Maharaj Prithu in the performance of 100 horse sacrifices. Consequently, he stole the horse and hid himself amid so many irreligious personalities, taking on the false guise of a sannyasi. Such activities are attractive to the people in general. Therefore, they are dangerous. Lord Brahma thought that instead of allowing Indra to further introduce such irreligious systems, it would be better to stop the sacrifice. A similar stance was taken by Lord Buddha when people were overly engrossed in the animal sacrifices recommended by Vedic instructions. Lord Buddha had to introduce the religion of non-violence by contradicting the Vedic sacrificial instructions. Actually, in the sacrifices, the slaughtered animals were given a new life, but people without such powers were taking advantage of such Vedic rituals and unnecessarily killing poor animals. Therefore, Lord Buddha had to deny the authority of the Vedas for the time being. One should not perform sacrifices that will induce reversed orders. It is better to stop such sacrifices. As we have repeatedly explained, due to a lack of qualified Brahminical priests in Kali Yuga, it is not possible to perform the ritualistic ceremonies recommended in the Vedas. Consequently, the Shastras instruct us to perform the Sankirtan Yajna. By the Sankirtan sacrifice, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his form of Lord Chaitanya, will be satisfied and worshipped. The entire purpose of performing sacrifices is to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Lord Vishnu, or Lord Krishna, is present in his form of Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, people who are intelligent should try to satisfy him by performing Sankirtan Yajna. This is the easiest way to satisfy Lord Vishnu in this age. People should take advantage of the injunctions in different Shastras concerning sacrifices in this age and not create unnecessary disturbances during the sinful age of Kali. In Kali Yuga, men all over the world are very expert in opening slaughterhouses for killing animals, which they eat. If the old ritualistic ceremonies were observed, people would be encouraged to kill more and more animals. In Calcutta, there are many butcher shops which keep a deity of the goddess Kali, and animal eaters think it proper to purchase animal flesh from such shops in hope that they are eating the remnants of food offered to goddess Kali. They do not know that goddess Kali never accepts non-vegetarian food because she is the chaste wife of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is also a great Vaishnava and never eats non-vegetarian food, and the goddess Kali accepts the remnants of food left by Lord Shiva. Therefore, there is no possibility of her eating flesh or fish. Such offerings are accepted by the associates of goddess Kali, known as Bhutas, Pisachas, and Rakshasas, and those who take the prasad of goddess Kali in the shape of flesh or fish are not actually taking the prasad left by goddess Kali, but the food left by the Bhutas and Pisachas. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnanam Jana Sadakaya Chakshuran Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Raguna Lalita Sri Visakam Vitansya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Paramami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Bhyayevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Lord Brahma is giving very strict advice to King Prithu. Lord Brahma is the head of the universe, is the creator of the entire universe under the order of Lord Vishnu. So he is certainly having more knowledge than anybody else in the universe. He knows what happened in the past, what's happening now, and what is going to happen in the future. So he has very good knowledge. And in this way, he is giving his instruction to King Prithu, telling him that you listen to me very carefully. Don't commit any mistake now. King Prithu is a very exalted personality, incarnation of Godhead, Sakyavesha Avatar. So he is certainly having very good qualities also. But here the situation is very special, and Lord Brahma has a superior authority in the matter. Therefore, he is giving advice to King Prithu, don't fight against Indra. Let things, whatever has been done, we cannot change now. Lord Indra has taken away the horse. He has stopped your sacrifice, 100 sacrifice. Let it be like this. You need not retaliate against Indra because the consequences will be very catastrophic. Already Indra has committed many improprieties, taking the dress of a sannyasi and stealing the horse illegally, unlawfully. If you try to retaliate against Indra, he will commit more sinful activities and the consequences will be terrible for the entire universe. So it is better to just tolerate whatever has happened. You try to reconcile yourself with the situation. You can welcome Indra at the sacrifice. Now the sacrifice is over, so let it be like this. You can again reconcile everybody in the matter. So that is a very enlightening instruction given by Lord Brahma. It is not that every situation will have to conclude in the same manner, because if we take, for instance, the duty of a Kshatriya is meant to chastise those who go against the religious principles. They should not be lenient in the matter. Otherwise, a religious principle will develop. If the king is not strong, every type of sin will be encouraged in the society. Uh, Prabhupada sometimes give the example, in Nepal, there is a king, and the king is very strong. And if the king, he has already given instruction, and by practical application also, it is well known that if anybody steals anything outside in the street or anywhere, his hand will be cut off. The king is very strict, and that is being implemented. There's no need of long judgment lasting 10 years, 20 years to condemn such a criminal. Immediately on the spot, his hand will be cut off. So what is the result of that? Nobody steals anything. You can leave your property on the street. Prabhupada is telling, I don't have any experience, but he came to know about that you can leave anything in the street and it is safe. You can, in the house, you don't have to lock your house, your entrance door. You can keep it open. Nobody will come because the punishment is so severe that nobody will dare to commit such a crime, stealing or in this way, disturbing. That is the power of the king. He has that ability. I gave that example. If the king is weak, then all types of crimes will develop in the society. That is the situation, especially in the age of Kali. So therefore, in this situation, Lord Brahma advises Prithu Maharaj to reconcile himself and again make friendly relationship with Indra. Let it be like this. 99 sacrifice, that is sufficient. There is no need. You are already well established. King Prithu, already established. There is no need of performing such costly sacrifices. Lord Brahma, in this way, wants that Prithu Maharaj should set up an example for the better. Already Indra has set up an example for the worse. So it should not increase. Yad yada acharati seshtas tattadeve taro janaha. Sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. This is the situation in the world. Whatever a great man does, a common man will follow. And whatever great man sets, whatever standard of behavior he sets, everybody will follow in the general public. So in this way, the people are inclined to follow. Good people will follow Prithu Maharaj, and those who are inclined to sinful people, tamasic people, will follow Indra in this matter. So in this way, Lord Brahma can foresee the situation for the future. In this way, is giving this instruction. We can refer again to Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna says to Arjuna that whatever action a great man does, common men follow. And Lord Krishna gave the example of Janak Maharaj. He is telling that kings such as Janak attain perfection solely by performing some prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Arjuna is also like a leader among the Kshatriyas. So if he gives up the battlefield and goes to a secluded place, that will not be a good example. He must show himself as an ideal Kshatriya. Now he is in the battlefield, Kurukshetra, and that is his duty to engage himself in the battle, not to renounce it. Everything has already been arranged. That is Krishna's advice to Arjuna. You must do your duty. In this way, you'll be perfect example for others to follow. Everybody has got some duty. And if anybody thinks, oh, this is not so important, see Arjuna, Kshatriya. He gave up the battle and he went out. So I don't have to stick to my duty. If I don't feel comfortable, I will give up my duty. Either as a Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, I'll give up this. Because anyway, Arjuna already, he has given up his duty. But Krishna is giving the example, Janak Maharaj, a perfect Kshatriya, performing all his duties very carefully. And in the purport to Shloka 21, Srila Prabhupada writes a very important, very nice purport. People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Another example that comes to my mind, some people came to Mahatma Gandhi and they inquired from him, Gandhiji, are you in favor of tea? Is tea drinking, is it good or bad? Some people say it's okay. Some people say it is harmful. What is your opinion? They asked Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi told them, you come next week. Come in 1 week time, I will tell you. So anyway, so they left. After 1 week again, they came to Mahatma Gandhi and so they repeated the same question. So Mahatma Gandhi said, no, tea drinking is harmful. Better to avoid it. So then the people were asking the question, say, Mahatma Ji, you could have said the same thing 1 week ago. Why now you had to wait? Why we had to come again after 1 week? Then Gandhiji said, 1 week ago, I was still drinking tea. After you came there, I stopped. Therefore, now I can instruct you that don't drink tea. So, Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called Acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The revealed scriptures like Manu Samhita and similar others are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leader's teaching should be based on the principles of such standard shastras. One who desires to improve himself must follow the standard rules as they are practiced by the great teachers. The Srimad Bhagavatam also affirms that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, and that is the way of progress on the path of spiritual realization. Mahatsevam dwaram yadahur vimuktehe, that Rishabdev Maharaj is instructing. You must follow the footsteps of the Mahatmas, those who are truly saintly personalities. Then you can achieve perfection. Similarly, in the Mahabharata, it is said that Mahajano yena sagada sapanta. One cannot understand what is religion, what is the perfect philosophy. You cannot concoct, you cannot speculate what is the perfect philosophy. But Mahajano yena sagata sapanta. By following the footsteps of the Mahajanas, then you will understand. That is the perfect knowledge. The king or the executive head of a state, the father, and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with standard books of moral and spiritual codes. So this is a very important instruction given by Lord Krishna and explained here by Srila Prabhupada. Actually, the whole of ISKCON society is, to a great extent, based on this principle, as Srila Prabhupada also has quoted from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. Prabhupada used to tell his disciples that you want to be a preacher, yes. Everybody should become a preacher in Krishna consciousness, all the disciples especially. But unless you become perfect or you have practiced the principles of Krishna consciousness, how can you go and preach? First of all, you follow yourself and you become firmly established in the principles of Krishna consciousness. Then you can go out and preach. Otherwise, no, you are not qualified. So what are the principles? Everybody knows, and Prabhupada used to repeat always basic principles. You follow the 4 regulative principles: no illicit sex life, no gambling, no intoxication, no meat eating. And then you must chant minimum 16 rounds japa of Hare Krishna Mahamantra daily, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then you must attend the temple programs, remain in association with disciples, and in this way participate in all the activities. So you follow strictly the principles, then you can preach effectively. Otherwise, your preaching will have no power. You will not be qualified. So in this way, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised, there is achar, prachar. The two must go together. He praised Haridas Thakur. You are doing perfectly achar and prachar. Therefore, you are perfect. Some people do only achar, no prachar. Some do prachar, no achar. But you are doing both, achar, prachar. That should be the ideal example for all the members of ISKCON Haridas Thakur has given. So, Srila Prabhupada mentions, as in the purport, that there are 3 natural leaders in the society. Everybody is inclined to follow the leader. Who are the leaders? 3 natural leaders. You can remember? First, who is the first leader Prabhupada mentioned? The king. The king or the leader, political leader of the country. The second, the father. In the family, the father is the leader. And number 3, the school teacher. Prabhupada is mentioning the purport. These are very nice examples Prabhupada is giving, and very practical also as far as ISKCON preaching is concerned. Prabhupada gave us many formulas to expand the activities of ISKCON society by preaching activities. There are basically 2 types of preaching, as Prabhupada gave us the idea. Preaching to the mass, preaching to the class. Preaching to the mass means just like we have Nagar Sankirtan in the street, we don't consider who is there, who is not there. No? As for everyone to hear the sound vibration, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, musical instrument, dancing, so that is preaching to the mass. And sometimes public programs are organized, just like Prabhupada gave from 1971, many public programs in Bombay, in New Delhi, Hyderabad, for the mass of people. Anyone can come, a free entrance, no selection. That is program for the mass. That is one type. And program for the mass, preaching to the class. Different classes are there. You have the political class, you have the business class, you have the intellectual class. These are important classes. Then you have the legal advocates, judges class of people. Like I remember in 1970s, with Achyutananda Swami, we used to organize different programs, mass programs, and class programs. We had political class program at the new MLA quarters. We had invited all the MLAs to attend the program, and at that 150 came. It was very successful in the new MLA quarters. They were very pleased with the program. Whenever we used to go to a particular place, we used to go to the class Lions and Rotary clubs. And we had programs for this Lions Club, Rotary Club. Even Prabhupada also addressed the Rotary Club here in Hill Street, the #1 club, Rotary Club. So this is a class program. Another class program we used to do, we used to go invite, there's an advocate law association, advocates association, bar association in every major city, like Hyderabad, Vijayawada, or Visakhapatnam. You have bar association. And so we used to invite them. And so we have meetings and we give a lecture. Maybe 20 advocates may be there. It is very nice to have such a class program for the selected class of people. So leaders of society in this way. Then another class, school teachers. I think you are very familiar with the school teacher programs. You go to universities, colleges, and have programs for the school teachers and also students. But Prabhupada here emphasizes the school teacher because they are the leaders. If the leaders are not enlightened, that will be very difficult for those who are subordinates to receive that enlightenment. They will hear from you. You have a program for the students. They will hear the opposite from the teachers. Then what they will do? They will be confused. Whom should I follow? The Hare Krishna people are there, and my teacher is saying something else. So who is correct? Who is right? So Prabhupada had a very clear idea about that, especially in the field of science. Science teachers. Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, the soul is eternal. The soul transmigrates from body to body. The body is external. It has nothing to do with the soul. The soul is primal. It is not created at any time, and it will last forever. But the material scientists, they are telling the life is a product of matter. And this is what they are teaching in the schools from the official school books. The students, they have to learn this. And they have to answer that question at the time of exam. No? That life, what is matter? Because they do not know what is life. But the idea is that life, living body, that is just combination of molecules, atoms, and then there is DNA, RNA, different types of biomolecules. And this combination is manufacturing life. Prabhupada was so much following Krishna's teachings. He was very, very strong. This false theory, which is taught in all the schools of the world, has to be counteracted. We have to go against this, and we have to present Krishna's teachings. That is the only solution for the problems of mankind. First, that is the ABC of knowledge. What they will understand, the basic knowledge is missing. We have to make sure that the teachers, those who are so-called PhDs and in science, and all the professors and Nobel Prizes and all these people who are recognized in the society as learned professors who are teaching this atheistic science, so-called science, they should be opposed very strongly. And we must establish the teachings of Lord Krishna from Bhagavad Gita. This is common sense. It is not that Krishna's teachings cannot be understood. It can be understood very easily if one is impartial. If our mind is free from all these biased other teachings from the atheistic materialist scientists. We should not follow that. We should follow. Prabhupada gave the example. Okay, somebody is living. I'm living now. So suppose in the hospital, so many people are there lying in the bed. At any time, one person will die. So one big scientist, Prabhupada can ask a big scientist, the scientist is telling that life is coming from matter. What is there? All matter is there. The whole material elements are there on the bed, and that now that body has become lifeless. Why? All the elements are there. Why is it lifeless? If you find by any chance one element is missing, one chemical is missing, you have that chemical in your laboratory, all elements, chemicals are available, you take it, you put it back in the body, and give life again to the body. Can you do that? Can you make a lifeless body again, full of life, by injecting the missing chemical? No, they cannot do. Impossible. So Prabhupada, always quoting what Bhakti Swabdhamana Swami was having at one time, one very big Nobel laureate in chemistry had come to his university, and he gave a lecture, big lecture, all students, and they had come. Nobel laureate is speaking, and he gave a lecture giving the same theory that life is an outcome of chemical combination. At the end of the lecture, at that time, Todam Singh, he raised his hand. Question? Yes, question? What is your question? You have told us that by combination of chemicals, life is arising. All right? I'll give you all the chemicals as they are available in the marketplace or in the laboratory. I'll give you all the chemicals. You assemble all of them. Can you guarantee that you can make a living entity? Even a small ant? Small? Oh. No, that I cannot say. I cannot say. That was the end of the question-answer session. So Prabhupada came to know about this challenge by his follower, Bhakti Swarup Damodar. And Prabhupada was very happy that he had challenged a Nobel laureate. Nobody so far was bold enough, even though some may have doubts. Many may have doubts. How is it possible that matter can produce life? everybody, I mean, those who are little intelligent, they have doubts. But because it is the official doctrine propagated in all countries, especially from the Western countries, America, Europe, everybody propounding this theory, everybody has to accept. India has to accept. India is following the West. They have to accept. But they are not actually, many they are not convinced, but because it's official, so they are repeating the same. Prabhupada, from that time, he chose Bhakti Sarup Damodar to head an institute for higher knowledge. And that institute became called Bhaktivedanta Institute. And the only objective of this Bhaktivedanta Institute is to invite all these great personalities of the universities, professors, especially in the field of science or philosophy, invite them in conferences and invite them. There should be a topic. What is life? What is matter? Is matter the origin of life? This question should be debated. And the presentation, the teachings of Lord Krishna from Bhagavad Gita should be discussed and established by reason and logic. It is not, we are not, at the beginning, we are not expecting that these big scientists will accept Krishna as a supreme authority, supreme personality of Godhead. That may come afterwards. But by reason and logic, we should present Lord Krishna's teachings to the scientists. Then that will be the defeat of this false propaganda doctrine, atheistic doctrine. And this Prabhupada was so much intent upon the activities of Bhaktivedanta Institute. Whatever amount you require, whatever money you require, that I will give. So he's asking, now, how much it will cost for you? Every month you have to travel to different places, go to different universities all over the world. What will be your expenses? When Bhakti Swabdhamana Swami said, so Prabhupada, I don't have any experience of this. I don't know exactly. We can travel 3-4 of us, and but I don't know what will be the expense. And Tamal Krishna Goswami was there. Prabhupada, it may cost at least $10,000. $10,000. Yes, even $20,000 I'll give personally. You ask, BBT Los Angeles will give, otherwise I will give. You never, don't worry, you will not be short of funds for this program. Otherwise, all other programs, we have to be careful how to spend every paisa. But for this program, don't worry, you will not be short of funds. And when Prabhupada was so sick in Vrindavan, 1977, in the months of June, July, August, the first program for this interaction between Bhaktivedanta Institute and all the professors was arranged. And many of them were invited in Vrindavan, in the guest house. Prabhupada makes sure that everything should be pakka to receive all these learned professors. The best arrangement should be made. Prabhupada considered these are the most important leaders of society. The whole world is following these scientists. That is what Prabhupada knew. And he wanted to make sure that this atheistic propaganda should be completely defeated. He didn't want to spare anything for that, even though he was so sick at that time, just about to pass away from this world. The conference started, And every day, Prabhupada used to call Bhakti Shabdamana Swami, or at that time not yet a sannyasi. He was dressed as a very good gentleman, just like a scientist. They were introduced as scientists, not as devotees of Krishna. Exactly. So in a suit, pants, tie, everything that they should look like scientists. So that was the presentation. Every day, Prabhupada used to inquire. So what happened? What was discussed? And what this professor, what did he say? And what did you say? And what was the reaction? Everything Prabhupada was inquiring and was very happy that the conference was a success in the sense that many of the professors became very favorable, very happy about this conference, very happy to see that the materialistic, atheistic theory was being defeated. Because in India, even the professors, many of them are also devotees of the Lord. But by force, they had to follow the Western theories. So they were very happy about this conference. And Prabhupada in this way was so encouraged. And that was the beginning of the Bhaktivedanta Institute. So all the teachers in this way should be taught principles of Bhagavad Gita because they are leaders. Whatever they hear, if they are convinced about Bhagavad Gita, then they can tell the same to the students. But if they are not enlightened, then what is the fate of the students? And what is the fate of the society? So these are the leaders. Yad yada sharati seshtas tatta devi taro jana. If the leaders are enlightened, then the whole country, the entire public will follow, because that is the nature of this world. So this is a very important teaching here of Srila Prabhupada, following Lord Krishna's teaching that we should follow the Mahatmas without following the Acharyas, then we cannot get any proper knowledge. So Brahma is also Mahajan, and by following Lord Brahma's instruction, King Prithu will achieve perfection, and the entire universe will be benefited. In this way, we can end this lecture. Any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Still, we take the position of teacher. Therefore, we are cheater, not teacher, but cheater. So, the teacher society nowadays is a cheater society. And this modern world is a society of cheater and be cheated. There, that's all. Somebody is cheating and somebody is being cheated. This is going on. Srila Prabhupada.
Yes. So the same teachings we have received from Srila Prabhupada should be carried out even after 50 years. It is not that there is change, not so much change. It is Kali Yuga is progressing. At the same time, ISKCON mission is to enlighten the leaders of society. Prabhupada went to all the political leaders, the President of India, the Prime Minister of India, and here we had programs here also. We met the Chief Minister, or we met all these people. So the same program should be still carried out by the ISKCON preachers. They have to preach to the mass and to the class. And various classes are there. They should not be forgotten. So in this way, the preaching activities can be conducted in a very efficient manner.
So, regarding this various classes of people who we preach. It is an easy method to introduce the heart-centered knowledge of Bharat Desha to the UNESCO city. So that in this regard, how much progress has been done by ISKCON.
So we have to continue these programs introduced by Srila Prabhupada. In this way, we shall be successful in our preaching activities. All right.
Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.